Hi there, I'm Beth, and today I'm excited to be a part of a Smart Doll collaboration between some amazing channels. I've been wanting to get into making more pop culture or gaming related projects on my channel, but I hadn't gotten started on anything yet when, out of the blue...
Hi, Beth.
Oh, hi Barb, what's up?
Alex and I are doing a Smart Doll collaboration. Do you want to join?
Sounds great. What's the plan?
I was thinking we all do a Smart Doll character from a video game, and I want everyone to challenge themselves to make a cool prop for them too.
Brilliant. I'm in. I'd better get started then.
Great! I look forward to seeing what you make. Keep on keeping on.
Bye. Wow! A Smart Doll collab with Alex and Barb from Enchanterium. We will also be joined by Kat from MagicalGirlKitKat Gaming and Sandy and John from My Lady Disdain. I'm honestly so excited to see everybody's videos, so after you've watched mine, please make sure you check out theirs in the links in the video description below. As Barb said, we'll each be choosing a video game character to dress up a Smart Doll as. We've also been challenged to choose one with a cool prop to make. I decided to choose a game that I have watched my husband play on the PlayStation called Death Stranding. The game is made by Kojima Productions and stars Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen and Lea Seydoux. The game is set in a post-cataclysmic America and centres around a courier named Sam Porter Bridges. Sam delivers cargo between far-flung places while avoiding contact with BTs. When these creatures appear, they're surrounded by a type of rain called timefall, which speeds up the time or age of anything it touches. The character I chose to turn my Smart Doll into is also a courier named Fragile. She carries a kind of navigation device that looks like a futuristic umbrella, and she wears a super hot outfit that resembles bikers' leathers. So I plan to replicate these at the Smart Doll's 1/3 size scale. With my character and her prop chosen, I sketched out a plan of all the separate pieces I will need to create. I also make note of any existing sewing patterns that I can use as a starting point for my own. I decided to start with her boots since I wanted to try adapting Culture Japan's free Takashin boots pattern. I bought some faux leather vinyl fabric which has a little stretch to it. I tested out ironing heat transfer vinyl onto it and sewing with it too. I altered the sewing pattern to match the length and design of Fragile's boots, and traced the templates onto my faux leather, and a padded lining fabric too. Here I've joined the boot sides together with a central strip for the outers. And here's the padded lining layer, which doesn't have that strip. Next, I'll be inserting a zip to the back and joining the two layers. Here you can see the layers together. I think I should have made the lining a little smaller as the bulk is slightly deforming the shape, but it looks okay when it's being worn. I cut the insoles from a thick interfacing and I'm going to try making a toe cap for reinforcement. I'll use a pair of 3D printed shoe lasts to stretch the fabrics over that reinforced toe shape. Here are my toe caps, made by heating up Warbler thermoplastic and shaping it over the shoe last while pliable. Once it cools, it's rigid. I then used a combination of superglue and gathering the fabric with thread to shape the boots. I then glued on a pair of 3D printed soles that my husband Craig had added grips and details from Fragile's boots to. To match her boots further, I added little loops and threaded on decorative laces using blue and white twisted cord. With the boots done, I move on to her trousers. Since my faux leather has a little stretch, I thought I might get away with a leggings pattern. I used the Smart Doll free patterns directory over on smartdollguru.com to find a pattern made by the Frantic Seamstress. Now, I did anticipate having to make the pattern larger, so I added a little more width to the bum and some more length to the waistband piece. In my plan, I'm wondering whether to include this back of the knee quilting detail. There are also blue and white stripes up the sides of the legs, as well as some smaller white details. I plan to iron these on using heat transfer vinyl, and I just hope I don't melt anything. I cut my strips of HTV vinyl using a ruler and a rotary cutter. I protect the fabric from the heat using a layer of parchment paper. Here are the finished trousers. I did skip the padded knee detail, and I thought the stripes were a little too thick. So actually I ended up remaking these later on. Next up is Fragile's jacket. Her jacket reacts to certain stimuli in the game, so the round raised areas you see across her shoulders can become sharp spikes. I studied some screenshots and drew out all the jacket details I could see. I had recently sewn the Sequoia jacket by Culture Japan, so decided to modify that pattern to make some mock-ups. In order to replicate the asymmetric front closure, I changed the pattern quite a lot. I used this lighter fabric to make up a test jacket. Here are all my jacket sections laid out. I've made the collar as part of the front sections. It'll join at the back of the neck before being inserted. For the vinyl decals, I was lucky to find this image shared by Kojima Productions. Using this, I could make alterations to fit the scale of my Smart Doll and have my Cricut machine cut them out. Initially, I test cut everything in grey vinyl, but for the final jacket, these will be white and blue. Well, here it is, my Fragile jacket test. I honestly love this so much, I could have stopped the video here. With the little vinyl details, it looks so proper, like a real little jacket. I want one for myself. I still need to work out how I will replicate her shoulder spikes. And I improvised the lower belt and loops, which need a little adjustment, but I'm happy with the snap fastening closure. It looks nice and clean, and I'm really happy with the tidy facing on the inside too. I'm ready to make this jacket in the black faux leather. I'll just take in the side seams a touch to give her a more flattering silhouette and see how it goes. I use a white paint pen to trace round my templates on the faux leather. I also cut out copies of everything in a firm black iron-on interfacing. All except the collar front piece, which I want to remain more flexible. I'm hoping it will firm up the faux leather enough so it's not a floppy jacket. I'm still using a white cotton for my facing piece, and it's hard to see the detail when it's black on black, but here you can see the pieces joined and top stitched. I set about cutting my iron-on vinyl details and carefully weeding away the excess. I lay out all the pieces to be ironed on and managed to cut much finer strips for the front too. This was when I decided I would definitely remake the trousers. Wow, having the different colours this time looks even more cool. I can't wait to see the back piece finished. I'm relieved that my sewing machine has no problem sewing this faux leather. I think because it's not shiny, that helps it not stick. Oh wow, yes, the back decal looks amazing. Next up, I can join the sleeves. I've got all the decals applied now, so I can crack on with sewing. It's all looking good. The sleeves are inserted. Now to hem the sleeves and close in the sides. Now, does the interfacing make it too stiff to turn out? I hope none of my vinyl falls off. Phew! Safely turned out, and I can see the waist looks nice and shapely. Now it needs the collar attached. I use around 10,000 clips since pins are a no-no with this fabric, and sew on the collar, leaving the white facing free. There we go. I did struggle a little with the bust curves and unpicked and restitched both sides to minimise puckering. It's not perfect, but I'm really pleased with it. Now for my belt and loops. The belt has interfacing applied and the loose strip will be cut into short bits to insert. Voila! The fragile jacket completed. I was able to iron on the last few front details and sewed in the snap fastenings. I am so pleased with how this came out. I considered it to be the biggest chunk of this project, so I was really keen to do my best for it. Now to see if I'll ruin it all by trying to add those spikes. I ordered a pack of 100 little metal spikes from Amazon and anxiously awaited their arrival. They looked right once delivered and are each made from 2 parts. A screw tightens into the cone to fix it in place. I wasn't initially sure how to make all the holes to push them in, but eventually found my groove and marked out the spacing with a white pen before poking a hole with an awl. I then inserted each spike and tightened it with a screwdriver. I'll save the spiked jacket reveal for later. For now, let's see how I remade her trousers. I was chatting with MagicalGirlKat, who was making a similar pair of trousers, and I thought about chopping up the pattern I used and adding back the seam allowance so that the section behind the knee could be lined with the same padded lining from inside my boots. Then, once rejoined, I could iron on nice narrow vinyl strips to the sides. Will it work? Let's see. Here are my little back of the knee sections. And I hope you can see this one already has lines of stitching running across. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good replica of the reference images. Here the pieces are rejoined, looking like the original pattern pieces again. And here's my second pair of trousers. I'm much happier with these. I'm glad that chatting with Kat about the patterning for them prompted me to do a better job with them too. Now, for me, the next step of this project was to tackle my first Smart Doll face-up. I would be taking a blank and uncut cinnamon G7 head, which the wonderful MagicalGirlKat actually sent to me, and be painting her to somewhat resemble Fragile, who in the game is basically her voice actress, Lea Seydoux. I was more than happy to stare at her lovely face for a while. Then looked to a few smart dolls for my face-up reference. I took some inspiration from Never Say Never and Imagine, but mostly from Not Everything to Everyone. Her melancholy eyes resonated with me the most, and you can see various different elements from them in my sketch here. Well, first I'll have to cut out the neck hole, the eyes, and cut off the funnel from the top of the head. These heads are created using a slush casting method and have to be cut away from every smart doll head. I've seen a couple people do this themselves, and I learned that warming the head helps make it squishier and easier to cut through, and that it helps to cut out a little from the middle, then work outwards to the edge. I test out a couple of knives to see which feels best to me. I opt for a standard straight-edged scalpel, put in a fresh blade and get to work. Here's my head afterwards. I didn't have any goofs, and though it's certainly not perfect, it's mine and I'm very pleased with it. Now the face-up can begin. I prepare the head by spraying with 2 coats of Mr. Super Clear Flat, which gives the vinyl surface a texture like paper, making it perfect to draw on with watercolour pencils and pastel chalks. I set about lining the crease of her mouth first. I thought I might give her an open mouth, but it didn't look right, so I decided to keep it simpler for my first try. Then, with my reference sketch on the screen beside me, I started penciling in the lines round her eyes. I swapped colours for different areas and took my time, using a wet cotton bud to erase any mistakes. Once happy with the first layer, I would spray her again with MSC and, once cured, pencil over the same lines again to build up more dense colour. With her eyebrows, I used 2 different browns to create a colour fade. I used soft makeup brushes with pan pastels to add a little blushing to her eyes, cheeks and lips. I really tried to keep her face simple and natural, like the character's face. To finish off the face up, I really wanted to make my own eyes for her, and made them by drawing out the iris and adding a dome of clear resin on top. I think they came out all right, although without her head cap on, the backlight looks spooky. Fragile has pretty short hair, swept back from her face, so I'll be trying to recreate that in a wig. Here I have a blank Coco head who will be my wig model today. I've covered her in cling film and will make a wig cap to fit. I sew a band of elastic to hold her wig firmly and will also use a peachy flesh-coloured jersey fabric for the cap. I'll carefully stitch the elastic to the fabric, then trim away the excess. Then I'll flip it round and cover with some tacky glue. This will be a glued wig. I have this ombre jumbo braid, and the lightest colour matches her really well, so I'll cut what I need from the ends. I can use these little straighteners to smooth out the texture. Here the cap has several glue layers and is now dry and trimmed closer to the elastic. I cut and glue some hair directly to the wig and some into long wefts to be peeled up once dry. You can see I flipped the cap again. These hairs will be on the underside to disguise the edge once the hair is styled back. Here's a little progress. I'm trying to fill in the outer edges first, gluing the hair in the direction it would be growing. I've very carefully used a mini iron to flip the front hair back. This certainly isn't the right or easiest way to make her wig, but I'm muddling my way through it. I remembered to paint the wig cap to match her hair, and now just need to fill in the rest and trim everything right back. I do my very best impression of a hairstylist and will try adding some gel to her hair to keep everything styled. For some stubborn sections, I try heating a metal chopstick and curling the hair back around it. This worked pretty well. Time to remove the wig and complete Fragile's head. Is this another trouble with tribbles moment? Hey, not bad. Once again, not perfect, a little poofy, but I'm certainly happy with how it turned out. Now, there's just a few smaller details for her, and of course her umbrella prop. I cover a foam board piece in fabric to resemble the pouch she wears on her hip. I'll use a little cord to make a cable and some random plastic pieces, or greeblies, to look like the buttons and things on top. I'll paint them black too. I'll also add on this detail to the front. There we go, and I stuck a magnet to the back. I'll put the other one into her trousers to hold it in place. I'll cut this cord and push the end up into her jacket. I don't know what it is, but there we go. My very patient husband Craig has modelled and printed me some hands for Fragile. He made alterations to the gloved hand shared by Culture Japan. He made some relaxed hands, some holding a little cryptobiote bug. Fragile eats these in the game. And he made a pair holding the handle of her umbrella. This should make it simpler to have her hold her prop, and I'll just need to paint them first. The final piece of Fragile's puzzle is her umbrella, and once again it was created and 3D printed by Craig. He did an amazing job of figuring out this geometric angular nightmare. And once printed, I could add some coloured vinyl and more Cricut cut details. Well, I think that just about does it for all the pieces of this project. It's time to put it all together and see how it looks. I really hope you enjoyed this much more involved than usual video. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope you will like the video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. A special thank you to all my patrons, and a big welcome to my newest members, SK, Susan Griffith, and Anne Gist. Please check out the Patreon link below if you're interested in joining. I've just added a secret shop there, and after BlytheCon in October, I plan to add more freebies and extras in there too. I also want to thank Alex and Barb from Enchanterium for setting up this whole collab, and to Kat, John and Sandy as well for making it such a pleasure to work on. Please make sure you visit each of their channels using the links below and watch their videos to see their video game characters and props come to life. Watch until the end to see all the details, and don't forget to comment below. What was your favourite part of Fragile's outfit?
Hi, Beth.
Hey, Barb.
Wow, that was such a fun collaboration.
Yeah, I can't believe what everyone came up with. They did a great job.
They really did. Well, See you later.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. Bye!